Today we're going to find out how you can save time and money with Parkinson's law, so let's get right into it. So Parkinson's law states that the work expands to fill the time available for its completion. Sounds super difficult, but actually it's not so difficult. It basically means the following. The more time you have, the more time you're going to take for a certain task. So basically the less time you have, the less time you're going to take for that task. Maybe you remember when you were in secondary school or university or whatever, and your teacher gave you an essay for like 2,000 words, okay? And the teacher told you, all right, you have 1 week to do this essay. I can imagine that you wouldn't start at that essay right away, that you wouldn't spend all your time in the first couple of days of that week trying to finish that essay of 2,000 words. You likely are going to do all the work in the last couple of days of that certain week. Now, if the teacher gave you that exact same essay of 2,000 words and he said, all right, tomorrow is the deadline, then you would take all the time you would have on that day and you would finish the essay before the day actually ended. So basically that means that if you have a week to do one essay, you're kind of going to expand the task that you're being given in that entire week. But if you have just 1 day to finish the essay in this example, then you're going to put all that work in 1 day and you're still going to be able to finish your essay. Now, personally, I also do this. I do this with preparing my videos, for example. It used to take me like 5 hours of time, more or less, to prepare and edit and post an entire video from basically A to Z. But now I take more like 2 to 3 hours time to actually do all of those things. I usually do it just like 3 hours before I actually post the video, so that I know that I just don't really have a lot of time available left for my task. So basically the conclusion of the time aspect here is give yourself less time for tasks and you're going to be able to do them quicker. Now the funny thing is that you can also do this with money, because you can basically use Parkinson's law and change it a little bit from time to money, and you can basically say, okay, the more you earn, the more you're going to spend. It's kind of elastic in a way. The more you earn, the more you spend. And also the less you earn, the less you're going to spend. When I was a student, and that was like 10 years ago, I basically spent about like 100 euros on my groceries each and every month. Right now, I spent quite a bit more. I spent like 300 euros. So my grocery shopping list, like my bill for my groceries, has basically tripled within 10 years' time. And that is basically only because right now I am earning more than when I was a student. So usually when you have less money, you're still able to live. You're still able to pay your groceries, pay your rent, but usually you just spend less on your groceries. You spend less on your rent. And the same goes for like clothing, for example. You buy more expensive clothes usually when you have more money to spend. You go to restaurants a little bit more often. Maybe you get a more expensive car instead of just a cheaper car. Maybe you buy a more expensive home than just a tiny home or just a smaller home, for example. Now you can use this Parkinson's law to your advantage when it comes to money, and of course also when it comes to time. But when it comes to money, we can give a simple example to explain this a little bit better. Let's say you have a salary of like $2,500 or 2,500 euros. Doesn't really matter for this example. And I don't know why, but for some magical reason, it always seems that at the end of the month, the entire salary is gone. So if you earn 2,500 euros or dollars or whatever, it always seems to be gone at the end of each month, or well, basically at the end of each period, right? Right before you receive your salary, it seems to be reset and you just don't really have any money left. You've spent it all on rent and groceries and shopping and takeaway, etc., etc. Might recognize that. Maybe you don't, but you might definitely recognize that. Now, you can use Parkinson's law by taking, for example, a certain percentage of that salary. You can say, for example, okay, I am going to take 10% of my salary, in this case 250 euros or $250, and I'm going to invest it in stocks right away, or I'm going to invest it in crypto right away, right after you get your salary. So this way you're basically going to pretend that you only earn like $2,250 or euros instead of 2,500 euros or dollars. Now, if you look at this example over here of this calculator, which you can find, by the way, on nesami.com/calculator, you're going to find that with that 250 250 euros or dollars, you can definitely make a pretty big dent in like 30 years time. For example, if you would start investing right now with $250 or euros each and every month, and you would get an annual interest rate, or basically an annual return on your investment of 8%, and the inflation rate, let's keep it at 2% for now. And if you basically do that for 30 years, so if you're right now 30 years old and you're going to do it until you're 60 years old, then you would have $238,000 or euros by the end of those 30 years. So it is definitely useful to basically set aside a little bit of money of your salary right after you receive that salary. Do not touch it, just invest it in crypto and stocks, and then you can basically pretend you're only living off $2,250 or euros instead of $2,500. So the conclusion here is basically that you can convince yourself that you have less money, and in that case you're also going to likely spend less money as well. Now, if you notice, for example, that 10% or $250 or euros is already quite low, that you can actually do that with a little bit more money, you can always, of course, step up the game a little bit. You can always increase that limit to like 300 euros or dollars or 400 or 500, whatever you want. Now, the thing is, I'm not saying that you shouldn't enjoy life every now and then, right? Because I'm not saying, okay, you should not go on holidays, you should not treat yourself to something nice every now and then. That is definitely not the case, because of course you should still live, but you can often spend a little bit less on, for example, takeaway food, or on parties, or on clothing, or on cars. Personally, for example, I don't really have a car at the moment. I'm actually using my sister's bike for quite a few years now already. So I'm not spending one single euro right now on a car. And I've been able to use that money that I have not been spending on a car, and I can use that money to invest in stocks and in crypto, of course. So my question for you is actually, how can you spend less money right now so you can have more money in the future? Let me know your answer in the comments, and if you have, of course, other life hacks, financial life hacks, or other life hacks that could be useful for other people here, right here, definitely let me know in the comments. And with that being said, thank you very much for taking the time to watch this video, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye bye!